forward this so that folks who aren't here can catch up. I'll do that stuff in a minute. So if you go to number 171, this is our last debate/presentation for the year, obviously. And I tried to keep it nice and wide open for you. So good morning, Akia. How are you doing? Good morning, Mr. Tout. Morning, Tout.
Good morning.
So we were just talking about the soil types presentation, and then I was going to head back and talk about the bell work while we were waiting for folks to come in. Good morning, Ayana.
Also, David should be coming.
David's on his way. It's a 5 alarm.
Yes.
All right. So the soil type presentations are wide open. You can choose whatever soil type you would like and do the research on it. I put together a template for you with 7 slides. First one just needs the soil type and with your name. Second one is just the description of the soil type in a few words, really straightforward. Properties, so the third slide is the properties of the soil type. Do not use sand, silt, and clay to describe it at this stage. All right, try to describe all the other properties of that soil type. This is a little tricky, but you'll see lots of properties that have nothing to do with sand, silt, and clay.
It sort of falls under the how do you define a word. You don't use the word in the definition of the word. That's not helpful.
Yep. Here's where you identify sand, silt, and clay. So you can use the soil texture triangle in order to identify the ranges of sand, silt, and clay. You could say something like, it's between 40 and 60% silt and between 30 and 50% clay. Just give those ranges so that we have an idea about where it is in the soil texture triangle. The next slide is pros and cons, so advantages, at least 2 advantages of this soil type. And what I mean by advantages is what kinds of plants grow really well in it, or what is it really useful for. And then cons, what kind of plants do not grow well in it, what is it not useful for. That's what I mean by pros and cons. Good morning, Dave. The what to grow in this soil, that's where I want you to just throw some pictures at me here. Pictures of a particular crop, a particular plant that grows well in this soil, and just identify it. And then finally, what the soil looks like. So find a good picture of the soil, maybe someone manipulating the soil so we can see how it looks, especially in comparison with other soils, so we get a good idea, contextualize the soil. Again, this is not meant to be super duper challenging. This is meant to be like a good way to just kind of finish up this unit. And if you notice in the slide notes, on the very first slide, I put 4 links in the bottom for you so that you can look up some different soil types in order to determine which one you want to do. There are just as many ways to classify soil types as there are countries in the world. So you will see different kinds of soil types in not only different countries, but also different regions of the United States. And so this one is from Oklahoma. If you look up Ohio soil types, you'll see different terminology. They all come down to these, but what they're actually called in different places, it changes. So just be aware that you are ultimately talking about one of these soil types, but there's a name that goes along with it based on sometimes the region, based on sometimes what specific organic matter is inside of it. So you're going to see some different names being thrown around. Mr. Tao, did you have anything else about the soil types?
Not really. If you go back to the soil triangle, just to, to give a fictional example, like, can you guys guess at least which end of the triangle it's going to be on if you found a soil called Nebraska red soil?
By Nebraska red, you mean the
Yeah,
soil's
I mean, I'm
really
being,
red.
yeah, the soil is going to be red in color.
It's going to be red in color, which means that it probably has a lot of ... right?
Yeah. And so I guess my point is, right, if you see a name like that, it isn't necessarily gonna, I was trying to lead people to guess like, oh, that must be sandy clay because it's red on the triangle. Those colors are not necessarily the color of soil. I hope that's clear. But recognize like that they may correspond to some color, but if there's sort of a name like that, it probably, there's a reason it's red. There's a chemical, there's an element we actually sort of associate with the color red in soil. But there's also just because it's named something for the region it's in, right? It will still fit somewhere on this triangle. But yeah, that was the only thought I had while you were sharing, while you were going through this presentation.
Good morning, David.
Good morning.
Adios.
So yeah, one last time, just start with this first slide. The links will help you out. And let's go back real quick to the presentation. Let me reiterate a couple things. So what is a soil type that you might find in Northeast Ohio? Hint, hint.
Okay.
Hint, hint. We talked about this during the soil lab.
I don't know. Let me go eat, please.
Ooh.
So what was a soil texture or a soil type that you came up with in the soil lab? Yeah, definitely a lot of sandy loam around here. That's usually a treated soil around here. You often find a lot of clay loam as well. All right, so a reminder that there is yoga tomorrow at 9 a.m. I did post, if you saw the announcements stream, I did post a 6-minute excerpt from last week's yoga so that you have some idea of what the yoga is like. It's active, it's relaxing at the same time that it pushes you. So I really like the physical activity combined with the relaxation. It sounds like it's contradictory, but it really is a very nice way to start the day. And then we know that today we're doing the soil types presentations. We're working on those. We will be presenting them on Friday, all right? Which will be a really fun way to kind of connect with everyone. And then due on Sunday, we want to see question set 5.3 and lecture notes 5.3. And when you do your presentation, we'll just grade it at that point. Next week is the last week of sessions. So we do not have sessions the week of Memorial Day, just so you know. Next week is it. So we will be talking about and doing a few things for that portfolio. And we'll explain how that portfolio can be helpful. We'll just be spending Tuesday and Friday on it. Monday will be the review for topic 5 so that you can kind of see how much you understand on topic 5. And that will close up the year. Any questions? All right. So Mr. Tout and I will be here for any and all questions about the soil type presentations. We ask that once you come up with a soil type that you approach us in the chat, either privately or publicly, it doesn't matter, to make sure that the soil type that you found is appropriate. Just especially if it's named something like Nebraska Red and you're like, I have no idea, is this an appropriate soil type? And we'll give you the okay on it. All right.
Is saying dibs efficient?
Did you catch that, Tout?
I
If-
said is an efficient way.
She was asking if she can call dibs. I think you should call dibs in the chat so we can read it.
If you have the same soil type as someone else, we are not going to dock points here. But yes,